Great. It's great turnout. Welcome. So tonight I'm covering the original host, Xiaohua, and I'm going to talk about two things. One is job search, and the second is how to build a resume. These several things are connected. Job search is actually pretty simple. I can break it down into 3 steps: building a resume, getting interviews, passing interviews. It's easier said than done. So tonight we will spend, almost 2 hours together. So I'm going to cover building a resume and then getting interviews. We wouldn't have time to talk about, how to pass interviews. We can leave that to future meetup events. All right, so I encourage everyone to raise questions. You can use chat to type your question, and I can answer those questions as we move forward. First, resume. The only purpose of a resume is to get interviews. So these two are actually connected. In order to create a resume that can get us interviews, I think we will need to, position ourselves properly, and we will need to have a targeting strategy. Before we build the resume, I think it's important for every one of us to understand the market and what the market wants. We have received the feedback from our hiring partners and companies, that are looking for data professionals. And we receive this feedback over and over again. The feedback is most candidates do not have the skills and the experience the companies are looking for. And to me, this is a puzzle. Nowadays, you can find almost any materials, resources on the internet, and some are free, some are really cheap. You can buy courses from Coursera, Udemy, for $10, 20, less than $100. You can get multiple courses. So my question is, if we have so many resources that's readily available, how come we don't have that many qualified candidates? So I encourage everyone to think about this question. Don't chase your dreams. I think it's important to chase the gap between what the companies are looking for and what they are getting. So if you can close that gap, and if you know what they look for and what you have, and then close the gap between the two, I think you will most certainly get more calls, and you will be able to pass the interviews than your competition. So first of all, let's just do 2 simple exercises just to understand the market. I'm going to take you to 2 biggest job boards, and the first one is LinkedIn. I did a very simple search. You can do this by yourself. You can just type data scientist over here, and then you will have a bunch of filters that you can play with. So first of all, we are not looking for people. Okay, so you can select jobs, right? So this one is jobs. And the second is the age. You see 4 choices: anytime, past months, and past week. I would like you to select past 24 hours, and I will explain this. Don't you ever apply for old jobs. Even more than 1 day is considered stale, old. So don't apply for old jobs because your resumes will not be looked at and you will not be found if it's more than 1 day. So every single time when you do a search, always pick last 24 hours. If it's the same search, today click it and tomorrow you click it again. In theory, technically, this search should return different jobs because the age is only 1 day, 24 hours. It will only return the jobs that got posted in the last 24 hours. So this is super important. And then the experience level over here, I just put internship, entry level, associate, mid senior level. So assuming I am a recent grad coming out of school, I want to select all four, or maybe not this. I want a real job. So every single time I make selections, you will see how many results this will give me. So 923, it's not bad, right? And next, salary. I'm not picky, so I'm going to take any salary. I need interview opportunities, and I'm open to any company. And remote, on-site doesn't really matter to me. Oh, wait, what do I have? Yeah, let me just go back. So this will return how many? 924 results. And you can just check some of them to get an idea. Oh, so JIT, you get more than 1,000. That may be because you have different filters and different criteria. Maybe it's because you're from Visaga, I remember. That shouldn't matter because I didn't pick any location. So you can. So for instance, if I pick Toronto, and then this will become a lot less. Oh my God, only 181. What about Ontario? 400. Okay. So you can play with geography, age, experience level. You know, if you want to be wide open, and let's just reset this. You know, you can include everything. So now I have 541 jobs. So you can, you know, click a few just to get a feeling. One thing I want to show you, you can put multiple keywords. So for instance, I can put this within quote, and then I can put data analyst. Once again, if it's more than one word, you want to put the phrases within quote, and then put all between them. All right, search. It doesn't like it. Let me try again. Search. So it doesn't like it. Let me try something else. Data analyst, comma, search. It doesn't like it either. So you can only put one key phrases at a time. Maybe it's because of the quotes. Let me try this. Yeah, this works. Oh, only 6 results. Ah, I see what happened. So this actually take data and scientists separately. So it's data or scientists. That's the reason why you get so many results. So if I put data and scientists within quote, I should get a lot less. Only 6 results, right? Right. So, in my opinion, linking is a lot more difficult to perform the more advanced search. I'm going to show you how to do it in Indeed. So Indeed is right here. If I just go back to Google, just type Indeed advanced search, and then you will have advanced job search, and then you can go there. So this will take you to something like this. So you want to put in different keywords in these boxes. The first one, because we're looking for data jobs, so I think it's a good thing you put data over here. So every single job description needs to have the keyword data in it, and that makes sense to me. And then you can leave this open, and then you can put a lot of keywords over here. So as you can see, I put a lot of them. So I use comma to separate them. And this means report, all, needs, all, operations. So one of them. And I actually have a lot. If I move to the right, you can see that I put a lot of keywords over here. Over here, you can see risk management within quote. So that means I treat risk management as one key phrase. Okay, so I don't know if I can attach file. But let me show you how I did it. Okay, let me just, I did this just before the presentation. Over here, I'm using an Excel. So you can see these are the keywords. This is how I sort them. If I put report, I just tried this keyword, this one single keyword with Indeed. I got 17,000 hits. So this is very popular, right? And needs, operations, and so on and so forth. So I have altogether 60 keywords, right? But I want to put all between them. So in the language of Indeed, I can just put a comma. So you can see I use a little formula just to connect the keywords together. And I can copy it down. So the last one looks like this, okay? All right. Yes, that's just like a SEO, okay. So if I go back here, this is a more advanced search. So I need to include data and one of these, okay? And then go down, there are a few things I need you to pay attention to. Type of jobs, I just keep all of them, full-time, part-time, contract, I want all of them. This is important, location. So I live in Toronto. I can work in downtown Toronto or GTA. So let me just put 50 miles, maybe within Toronto. Oops. How's that? And then this is age. Once again, I'm going to pick since yesterday. All right. So after I complete this location and age, I'm going to click on this button, find jobs. All right. How many? Only 15. That's crazy. That's definitely crazy because a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I used the exact same search. I remember I had like 400 or sometimes 600 a day. So once again, you can see this is within last 24 hours, within 50 miles. If I relax this within 100 miles, okay, 20 jobs, still not a lot, right? Toronto, if I change this to Ontario, man, it's not easy, eh? 129 jobs, that's better. That's better. What about the entire Canada? Oh, that's because this got reset. So I still want 24 hours. Because in 25 miles, that doesn't make sense. But this is Canada, right? Okay. Yes, I'm pretty sure comma means all. Or indeed CA, maybe. Maybe that's why. Let me just reset this, eh? Give me a second. This is indeed CA. This is indeed CA. And this is 24 hours. And this is 25 kilometers of Toronto. Oh, so now I have 107. That makes more sense. Yes. So once again, I used to get 400 and 600, and now I'm getting 100 jobs. So I'm going to copy and paste this on chat. So you can try it. And if you click on this link, I encourage you to bookmark this. And every day you click it and just get a feel of the market. So you want to feel the pulse of the market and see how many jobs are available. And over here, let's just take a look at a few jobs and just to get a feeling, okay? So over here, I'm not sure about this. This is Senior Analyst Campaign Analytics. This is Data Analytics, Business Intelligence. Let's take a look at this one, this guy. So Senior Analyst Campaign Analytics, TD Bank, okay? So on the right, let's just go down a very, very high level. So usually I will tell you the bank, the department, and let's just take a look at the row over here. So part of the marketing delivery team, design, execute, and measure performance of campaigns to drive acquisition, retention, engagement across the portfolio. And all right, what about the skill set? Go down, you see Python, SQL, PySpark, and domain knowledge, of course, campaign analytics, and experience with Agile. Qualifications over your 5+ years of experience. Don't be scared by 5+ years. And if you meet 40% of the qualifications, apply anyways. Okay, so once again, Python, SQL, knowledge of database and data structure. So I'm sure most of you can apply for this job. It's a senior role. The domain is campaign analytics. Okay, let's just look at this guy. It's a Power BI developer. And this is not like, an IT job. And they use the term developer. Sometimes they even use engineer, only because the dashboards you develop and the BI solution, is going to be promoted into production environment. So you got this title of developer or engineer, but it's not like, you're developing an application. So you're still in the big data department. Why do they ask for PySpark? That's just nitty-gritty details. we're not gonna discuss in this presentation, but I'm going to just show you a few. A lot of banks are hiring. So this is international banking with Scotiabank. And let's keep going. CIBC. Oh my God. Do you know why? I can tell you why. Do you know Canadian banks, they have their fiscal year end in October. So it's October 31st. Most companies have fiscal year end December 31st, but all the banks have their fiscal year end October 31st. So that means they already finished the year 2023. They're now in November, which is the first month of 2024. It also means if they have a new budget for the whole year 2024, now they already, have the headcount, they already post the jobs, they are already collecting resume. So I think this is a piece of information you all want to know. It's not that November, December all things will slow down, but for banks, I think this is the perfect time, for you should apply like crazy, because all the departments, the teams, if they have the budget approved for year 2024, now they already have the jobs posted. Okay. Question from Louise. How can I know the companies that are sponsored for work visa in Canada? I'm assuming you're from, I don't know, South America. In Canada, I used to work in the bank, Scotiabank. If we cannot find the talents from within Canada, and then it's possible we can hire somebody from outside of Canada, and then the company can become a sponsor, and they will handle your paperwork, maybe working with a lawyer or maybe a law office. And this happened before, but and now it becomes very, very rare. It's very hard. It's very difficult to justify that we can't even find one candidate, within the country, and we have to hire from outside of the country. Yeah, so it is a possibility, but don't count on it, right? So you still want to apply for immigration and come here first. All right. From Simon Lee. I've never seen that before. I think for something like that, you probably need a headhunter. That is, which is true. Jorge, how true can it be that having only 60% of the requirements could be possible to apply to be successful? Very good question. The question is, if the requirements written on the job description is a maximum requirements, why do they do that, right? I used to hire, I was in the hiring position. So large organizations, they have HR, and HR is powerful. And every team probably need to work with a HRBP, human resource business partner. So that individual is a talent acquisition specialist, or sometimes, and they just call this role recruiter, right? So basically represent HR. Let's say I need to fill 5 positions. I already wrote the job description for the 5 positions. And then HR, they will need to review it. Sometimes they don't like what I wrote, and they will say, what, for a position that pays $80,000, it's a senior role, and we have a banquet HR policy. You should put at least 3 years of experience minimum. But me, as a hiring manager, I know the number of years is a very bad measure. It's a horrible measure sometimes. But you know what? If HR doesn't approve the job description, I cannot post it. So sometimes the HR, change or modify the job description in the way I really, really don't like, because I know that once you post the job, it's going to filter out some really good candidate. Okay. But for you as a candidate, I want you to know that the requirements on the job description are oftentimes maximum. So if you see yourself meeting 40% of the requirements, you should apply. You should definitely apply. Okay. And Jay Gu, in today's job market, should I even try to apply for jobs in Ontario from BC? Like, we're fully remote. BC has too few job opportunities. That is true. My answer to your question is positive, is yes. Yes, not even that. You should also look for opportunities in the US, and it becomes common. I can tell you from my own experience working with students and mentees, and quite some of them, they're based in Canada, and they found jobs from the US, and they are not required to relocate, because data jobs it can easily be put in a remote mode, and it's very easy to track your progress. So it becomes more and more common, for Canadians to find jobs and work remotely, for the company based in the US. All right, so let's look just one more, and this is digital solution area specialist, data and AI. This is Microsoft. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is a long job description. I just want to see the hard skill. 4 years, technology related. So it's tech sales, account management, so it's B2B, bachelor's degree in IT or business administration. So it's very wide, you don't need to, okay, over here, you see some technical subject matter expert, SQL, Postgre, MySQL, just different database systems, cloud, Azure SQL, NoSQL database. So big data, one of could be BigQuery. BigQuery is GCP, it's Google Cloud Platform. Redshift is AWS. You just need to know one of them, right? Snowflake or Azure. And data governance, machine learning. It's very wide, okay? But it pays well. It pays, depending on the experience, it can pay 6-figure. Right, so we start to get more questions. Send this from this job description, which one are considered at the 40% that must? That's a good question too. Sometimes the job description separate them in 2 sections: a must-have and nice to have. Even the must-have, I tell you, also maximum requirements. It doesn't have to be the first 2, but usually the most important requirements are at the top, right? So if you go from top down, if you made 40%, when I say 40%, it's ballpark proxy, right? Really, I'm encouraging you to apply. If you need to be on your toe to apply, and do it, right? Don't worry, do it. Don't disqualify yourself before other people disqualify you, okay? I had a question, someone who is changing fields and getting into data, what tips or suggestions or recommendations would you give to a in job search? There's no coding experience or stuff like that. Okay, that become hard if most of us we draw our confidence, from some sort of technical depth, technical expertise. And I think nowadays, technology is important, and the economy, the organizations are all going through digital transformation. So we need to have a minimum amount of technical literacy. So for instance, SQL in internal data, they're all structured data organized into SQL database, and that's, I think, the minimum we should know, right? So SQL is a programming language, and it's also a database system. So that's something you definitely need to learn, okay? And that's something you can learn, within relatively short period of time. And it's not that you have to go back to school and invest a year or two. I'm talking about 3 to 6 months. That shouldn't be a problem for you, okay? If you're highly disciplined, you can use the online resources, but I highly recommend that you register for bootcamp, because nowadays the skills that make you stand out are hard to learn by yourself on your own. Samly, does anyone know of any tool service that give you feedback on your resume for every job? I'm using one now, and it is excellent. If you don't mind, you can share what kind of tool and service you're using. Is it ChatGPT? Yeah, I know some website you can upload your resume, and right, resumegenerator.io. I'm pretty sure it is using some sort of AI. Okay, so this is something I want you to use, and just bookmark the search, and you can change it. You can change the keywords to suit yourself. But in the spirit, let me just go back to here. So getting interview, the second one is the Boolean search I just showed you. Let's go back to building a resume. So understanding the market and going through a good number of job descriptions will give you a fairly good idea, what the companies are looking for. Okay, so that will really help you to position yourself. My opinion, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the answers before you start looking. Remember, every industry may have its own unique requirements, but to a large extent, you only need to know enough to get a job first, but you still need to learn on the job. So I'm going through some of these points, and if you have any questions, please raise the question. And after that, I will show you a few sample resumes, so you will have a good feeling what kind of resumes are considered good resume. Okay. First of all, one-page resume. I know some of you have different opinions, but I insist one page. 2 pages are 2-page resume is a turnoff. And imagine somebody, even myself, I I read students and mentees' resume almost every day. And whenever I see a 2-page resume, I feel frustrated. I just don't like it. If you insist on 2-page, you're taking the risk, whatever you put on the second page will not be read at all. So if you know that for a fact, then you will do anything to squish, your resume into 1 page. Okay, so 1-page resume, and that makes the reader or reviewer's job so much easier. And people, when they see a 1-page resume, they just feel happier, and they are more willing to look at your resume. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it's not even 1 page. And the upper half of the page, you want to communicate probably most of the important facts and information. Yeah, just in case the reader of the resume doesn't have time to read the whole thing. Okay. And cover letter, in my opinion, doesn't matter. So don't spend too much time doing the cover letter. And sometimes when you apply on Indeed, and they insist that you will write something in the box. Or if it's an email, you feel like you have to write something in the body of the email. So then you can compose a very short message. So I have seen a highly effective cover letter, 3 paragraphs. In fact, 2 paragraphs plus a 2-column table. So the first paragraph basically says, I'm strongly interested in this position, okay? And I believe I have everything you look for. So that's the first paragraph. And the second paragraph is a 2-column table. It looks like a table, but it could be 2-column text. On the left-hand side, it says your needs. And on the right-hand side, it says my qualifications. So basically, you quote from the job description, the must-have on the left. And just to make it easier, or to help engage the HR or hiring manager, so you will put this side by side. It becomes very easy to see, the basic message you're trying to get across. I have exactly what you look for. I have exactly what you need. So that 2-column table basically leaves people with the impression that, this is a good candidate. I want to meet him. Okay. And then the third paragraph basically says, I would be thrilled, at the opportunity to discuss with you. I would be thrilled for an interview opportunity, to demonstrate, how I can contribute, to your team's success, something like that. So it's very short and punchy and crispy. People can spend like 20 seconds, they finish, and then they feel good about it. Okay, question from Blake. From Sam. In fact, there's another one. How much have a good portfolio is important? A good portfolio is definitely important. Consider that if you don't have anything else, all you have is a resume, you have a lot of convincing to do. It's going to be hard. But if you have a portfolio, and a lot of times portfolio is visual, and it is something people can get at a glance. Either portfolio on GitHub or portfolio on your personal website, and you include a link on your resume, and people click the link and just take a look at, maybe 2 or 3 projects you have done. And then I think most hiring managers will have a fairly good idea, if you have done any heavy duty, industry grade project. Okay. So your portfolio simply helps you to convince the hiring manager to meet you. All right. Okay. I'm looking for, what's your thought on the rule of thumb? 1 page for every decade of experience. That's what I've been told by a recruiter. Sam, one time I talked to a student and he had 15 years of experience. So the reaction from him was, Eric, how can you, it's not fair. He said, it's not fair. How can you expect me, somebody like me with 15 years experience, to squish everything into 1 page? Well, there's no fairness in this because simply you're at the mercy of the recruiter, or sometimes could be a talent acquisition specialist. It's just, you put yourself at a disadvantage if you have a 2-page or even more page resume. There's no fairness. Me, at some point, I had 25 years of experience, and I use a 1-page resume. Okay, so if you can beat me in terms of age, and then feel free to use 2 pages. It's just, you're not helping yourself. Okay. Blake, I'm looking for a type of roadmap knowledge base for reference as a resume proof of concept builder and freelance service provider. Like, okay, so I have heard of all that on the internet, and now with ChatGPT, if you know the right prompts, you can ask really good questions, and ChatGPT can also help you. But let's admit it, resume is highly creative piece of work, and a good resume is artwork. It's not easy to craft a good resume. We're going into details. I'm going to show you a few resumes. They look different, but they're good in their own way. I mean, the tools can help you to some extent, but the tools still need you to provide the inputs, everything about yourself, to really show the unique strengths or things about you. So I still insist you need to put in your fair amount of effort to make this work. Even ChatGPT, if you pump in a low quality verbiage, it's not going to return high quality answer. Okay. Giselle, as a person with no previous work experience, I just graduated. What type of project do you recommend adding to a job portfolio to apply as a data analyst? Also, what impact can obtaining a Google certificate on data analysis? This is a good question. Let me just real quick, let me just go back here. Let me show you a few. I am the director of BI track, so I have a lot of materials for BI. Okay, so these are sample project experience. I show you, for instance, this is a CRM email campaign. This is a project, this is a use case in Penicom using SQL Server. And over here, this is in the energy sector, community solar. So this is the energy company in the US. The tools we use is Excel, Power Query, Power BI. And this is real estate, Canadian Real Estate Investment Trust. This is a real company in the industry of real estate. So the file is text file we use Power Query, Power BI. And this is a mega store. It's a fictitious store, but the database is huge. So this is in the industry of retail e-commerce. We use SQL Server, Power BI, and Tabular Editor, DAX Studio. And this is IT sales operations analytics. And this is financial planning and analysis, FP&A. And the source data, the data is coming from QuickBooks. And we use Excel, Power BI, Zebra BA. This is I believe it's an add-on, yeah, to Power BI. This is human resource analytics. The source data is in Excel, 7 tables. You use Power. I think you see a lot of Power Query, Power BI, and DAX, and SQL Server, or you can use some other databases. So these are just examples of some of the project, but you can tell these are from the industry, and it's not something like a toy project from school or assignment from school, or a project using public open data. I'm not showing you a project about COVID-19. That basically too many people did it, and it's not considered a good project to put in your portfolio. So I hope that give you some idea. So let me just go back here. All right, the next question. Can you provide an example for what you need versus what I have table in the cover letter? Because if you're just going to list the skills, wouldn't it be repetitive? Interesting. Sure. Let me show you something. Okay, one of the mentees I help over here. So this is not exactly the covering letter, but something we use to handle the HR interview. I hope you can see this. It's a bit small. Okay, how about this? This is a simple example because, okay, so this is the job description. It's shortened. Senior analyst pricing, Rogers Wallace. But over here, you can see it asks for SQL, SAS, Excel, Access. Access is a very old Microsoft database. It's a small database. Okay, so for that, I'm going to list this down: Excel, SQL, SAS, Access, Word, even PowerPoint. Crazy. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you will get questions from HR like this. So the question is asked in the form, how would you rate your skills on a scale from 1 to 10? I tell you why. HR doesn't really understand the job. HR doesn't understand the responsibility. So they will shy away from the responsibilities. They will focus on qualifications like this. Because it's obvious, it's very, very simple. Even though they don't understand SQL, SAS, or even the difference between the two, but they can still ask you a question like this, how would you rate your skill on a scale from 1 to 10? So in this case, you need to be prepared for this, for HR. So if I want to rate myself on the tool, I will use 1 to 10. But sometimes the HR will ask how many years you have used this tool and that tool. And I also need to be prepared for that, okay? So, I mean, this is a little exaggerated, but I put 9.999. I could put something like 8.5 for Access, but I will never do anything like 7 or 6, because if I do that, I just blow my chance right there and then, right? And number of years of experience, if you just have to, you insist on ask me this question, and I will be prepared for this. So I will convince you that I have met your needs and requirements. But over here, I will put, for Excel, I'm an advanced user. And SQL and SAS, I'm a very good coder. Access, I don't have Access. I have never used Access, but I will tell you, I'm a power user of most popular databases, MySQL, SQL Server. This is even more advanced compared to Access. Okay, so I understand dimensional data modeling. So Access is not a problem at all. Just in case, if one of this, let's say SAS, I don't know SAS, but I know that maybe 60% of SAS is actually proc SQL. I come from a SQL background, so consider me already knowing SAS 60% of it. But if the team is using SAS very extensively, don't worry about it. I will even get certified before the start date, right? So all I'm trying is to get past the HR so I can get to see the real hiring manager, So I need to be super careful with questions like this, because HR will just ask you a very straight question, and if you say 6 or 7, if I hear 6 and 7, it's already a no. So I will put your resume in the no pile. Okay. I hope I answered that question. All right. What is your hope I didn't, as a person, can you provide an example? I did that too. How do you evaluate the applicability, not the offers, according to the school, PhD, bootcamp, self-teaching? I think every one of you probably agree nowadays the schools are very slow to respond to the real issues in the real world. Imagine they have to train the professor on OpenAI. That takes time, right? So, and that's the reason why bootcamp exists. I know some of the knowledge you can get, maybe you can learn from Andrew Ng himself, ChatGPT or generative AI and large language model and stuff like that. But it's not just the tools and skills, it's also use case, it's the project. And a bootcamp exists only because we have worked with industry experts, people from the top companies, and we have designed the best use cases to help you understand, to simulate the work before you even do the job. And that's the reason why you will have much easier time to pass the technical interview and convince the hiring manager that you will succeed in the job, right? Okay, Jorge, I answer your question. How do you summarize data science products developed by me in a 2-page resume? I have 14 years of data science analytics experience. Deepankar, I think you could always have a link to your work. If people are interested, and they can click on the link, and that will take them to your personal portfolio website. But resume itself is not the right place to show all your work. It's as simple as that. I know it's very hard for you to see your experience cut back down into 1 page. It's just nowadays, our attention span is very, very short. It's very, very short. You just have to accommodate that. Yeah. Giselle, thank you so much. How to have access to the learning path you showed before. I'm going to write my email address over here. Send me an email and I will provide you access. WeCloudData.com. All right. Okay, Sam, thank you for answering some of the questions. Covering letters are hard. It's super hard. It is really hard not to be repetitive and sound like a broken record. You're promoting the resume generator.io again. Okay, so it's actually this. The job description sometimes is poorly written, is very badly written. I'm going to challenge you to write the covering letter or even on the resume. You know the job. Sometimes you can explain the job even better than the job description. Would that be possible? I think it's totally possible. If you research and reviewed enough job descriptions for the same role, for the same kind of role, from the same industry, you can possibly, come up with a really nice profile that every company want to hire. Is that possible? I think it's possible if you spend the time and take the effort. And that is the kind of thing we are trying to achieve. So at WeCloudData, we actually pair you up one-on-one with the alumni mentor to help you craft a very good resume. Sometimes if you need covering letter, we can help with that as well. Does it give a resume score according to, okay, so you are discussing that AI tool. All right, so now I'm going to show you a couple resumes. Just bear with me. Well, I hope you can see it. Okay, so they're all one page. Just tell me if you get enough information from one page, because every single one of these resumes, they get the candidate or the mentee, the students, multiple interview opportunities, and they use this resume to get hired. I mask the name and personal identifying information, and I also mask the school, the university they went to. But I'm going to show you the structure on some of the content over here. So the structure is pretty straightforward. Just remember, you need to have a pretty strong skills section, and then if you are not a new or recent grad, you must have had some work experience. So you will have your professional or work experience. And if you are a career switcher, and then your professional experience is not enough or is less relevant, so in that case, you will have to do some of the project. And in this case, you want to put your relevant project on top of your professional experience, because this carries more weight and this is more relevant. So it's arguable, should I put my education at the top, in the middle, or at the end? I think if you have some experience, you may want to push your education to the very end, but skills definitely need to go to the top. Because data role is technical, so you need to show your technical strengths. So I know this student really, really well. He is a man of only a few words. So you can see this is extremely simple. And I once encouraged him to put more, but he says he just cut back down. Okay. But still, if you look at the skills section, you see 6 categories, right? 6, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. And it's very well structured. Statistics, databases, programming, data analysis, machine learning, and data visualization. So it's very well rounded. Even if I only look at the categories, I already have the feeling that this person, is technical, right? But if you want to get the specifics, you can. So, for instance, statistics, he put A/B testing on Monte Carlo. This is a simulation methodology. For databases, he put down 2, MySQL, Postgre, and depending on your experience, you can put MySQL, SQL Server, Postgre, MariaDB, MongoDB, right? Programming minimum, you should put Python and SQL. Now, SQL is both a program language and a database, okay? So I think you can get the idea. The skills section are extremely important. It goes to the top, and you should include at least 6 categories. For data scientists, statistics is important. That's why you see this, this individual, I know he's applying for data scientist job. So that's why statistics, machine learning, I think, in my opinion, machine learning over here should go to the top, right? So even within the skills section, the sequence, the order of the categories, you need to order and reorder them by importance, okay? Great resume. Do you put the skills at the top because of the ATS system? Yes, we need to make sure your resume passes ATS, application tracking system. Your resume is written for both human and robot, and so you definitely need to have enough keywords, and you make it so obvious, so you can score higher in terms of matching. 95% match, or 90 or 85. Next is about the project. So I encourage everyone to put at least 3 projects. So you see 3 projects over here, 1 and 2 and 3. And in fact, I encourage you to put 6 projects, but you elaborate on 3. So you elaborate this, and this. Maybe put 3 more over here. But each project takes only 1 line. So 1 line, 1 project. So 3 plus 3, 3 elaborated and 3 just mentioned. And then people can see the scope of your work. You have done quite a lot, but you choose to show 3 highly relevant projects relevant to this opportunity, okay? And then the professional experience, how can we handle that? For one individual in the audience, if you have 15 or even 20 years experience, and then you still need to put that. Ideally, your past work experience has the component of data or data analysis. If that is the case, you want to play up that part of your experience. And if not, you need to cut down. So you can show the job, but you don't have to put like 3 or 4 bullets under each job, because that doesn't help you, right? You can put 1 bullet, and sometimes 2 bullets, and sometimes if you have 5 jobs, you can just put 1 line for every job. It has enough space. What you can do is you can put the employer's name and pipe, and then your title, and some space from year months to year months, all in one line, all in one line. If you have 5 jobs, you only take up 5 lines. So you can have some valuable space for relevant project. Only if you do that, your resume will get read and will get interviewed for you. All right. So JEET, 3 projects, pick 1 for SQL, 1 for Excel, and 1 for Power BI. No, no. You know, they're really professional quality project. Sometimes you need to use multiple tools in the same project. Yeah. 1 for SQL, 1 for Excel. That doesn't sound like a project to me. That sounds like a exercise or a simple assignment. It's like a school assignment. School assignment is not a project. It is not. When I say project, it's a real problem for that industry, and it's a very typical problem. And when the hiring manager sees that project, they can immediately relate to that project. Yeah. So sometimes you will use Azure Cloud and Power BI. Sometimes you can use SQL Server with Tableau, right? So really depends. In fact, you want to show the workflow, you know, from one system to the other, and it's all automated. Where do we put personal details? Oh, my bad. Your name goes to the top, of course, and then your phone, your email, maybe your LinkedIn profile, and the link to your portfolio website. Okay. From Tasha, this time your personal details. Your personal details is probably the most important. In fact, you want to bold and use 16 font size for your name, because you want people to easily get your name and then your phone, so they can contact you for the interview. Of course, your personal details are important. We mask them because we want to protect the identity of the students. Okay. What is your suggestion on the summary at the top of the resume? Should I put one if I am doing a career transition? That's a good question too. Let me just show you okay, this one. Tasha, so as you can see, of course, you have your name, the personal details over here, and then the summary. You can put a summary if you have space, but in case you run out of space, then the summary can go. Summary at the top, it is like your answer to the first question during the interview. You know, tell me about yourself in 20 seconds. And so it's a super short bio about yourself. So usually your background, your experience, your strengths, and maybe your personality. So let me repeat that. Your background, your educational background, your work experience. You can mention years if it's significant. And then your strengths, you know, what is it that you consider to be your greatest strengths? So strengths can be hard and can be soft, right? And you end it with your personality, or what kind of person you are. So let's just take a look at this example. So this individual, she positioned herself as a data analyst, data-oriented analyst, business intelligence consultant. So I think she is trying to cover more ground. So she's a DA. She's also a BI consultant. Okay, so proficient knowledge in economics, statistics, and analytics, strong understanding. So your strengths could be, or your experience and strengths could be both technical and business. So this is business, and this is also business. Economics, statistics, this is technical, statistic, analytics. And then marketing, this is business, data programming, and machine learning framework. This is technical. So here is soft skills, superior cross-functional planning and execution experience with influencing skills, and communicate with clients at all levels, meaning you feel very comfortable, communicating with senior management people, middle manager, and employee, all levels. And you can work from business to data to insight to action to outcome, closing gap, creating value. So this finished very strong. So you can go all the way through from business to data. A lot of times you perceive a gap between business and data. You can close that gap. And from data to insight, there's always a gap. And you can close that gap too. From insight to action, so the insight needs to be actionable. So you want to make sure you follow through. And from action to the impact on the business outcome. So I consider this summary a good summary. I hope I answer your question, Tasha. Ramona, what font size does this resume? This one? It seems very small. You're right. So the student, she's trying to squish everything into one page. That's why. So the standard margin, very likely you will go out of one page. So you need to reduce the top and the bottom and the size. And sometimes I still want you to use at least 10 for font size. This is a bit too small. But if you look at the project, once again, the skills, do you see 6 categories? Programming, statistics, visualization, database system, machine learning. So in her case, operations optimization, and then business. Okay. So you start to see some pattern. 6 categories plus 8 maximum. You want to put the category and you bold and highlight, and then some details. Okay. And then for the project, you also see 3 plus 3, right? 3 project, 1 and 2 and 3, and 3 bullets for each project. And then other project, 3 more, 1 and 2 and 3. So her real experience is very short, just one job over here. And it's in the bottom half of this 1-page resume, and then the education. All right. Okay. So may I send you my resume for review? Yes, you can. Remember my email address. You can send it to me. Eric, if we don't have relevant real project, do you think Kaggle project? No. Why? 7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, people can use Kaggle project to apply for jobs, and maybe they can still receive interview calls. But nowadays, too many people use Kaggle project. It's too easy and too accessible, unless some of the data and project are serious project from the industry. And I know some of them are actually from real companies, and they put out some sort of contest and a reward for the winner. I think those projects you may get by with them. Otherwise, I still encourage to try, different ways to get more relevant project. And if you're using the data from, I don't know, COVID or natural disasters or crime data, it's not recommended. It's like something used to have some effect, but now it stops to have that effect. Okay, and the bar is raised, so we have to do something different. What is your thought on bolding the words in a resume? Yeah, I recommend that. So you see, even different color, but I think bolding it is good, is important. How must be the balance between hard and soft skill? That's a good question too. I think nowadays you can't just do a good job by staying in the cubicle and without, collaborating, communicating with people from other team, other departments. They always ask you, do you feel, do you work well on team, across functional? So that's a must. You just have to showcase you're pretty good at, building relationships and with people internally and externally. So you can build very good relationship with your coworkers and with clients. There are many different ways to write that. And once again, stay away from the cliche and write something people feel strongly about. Okay, so you can one example. So this is for interview, but you can shorten it to become a bullet on the resume as well. So follow up, the ability to follow up, right? Imagine you need data from IT to create reports for the business. The data hasn't arrived. That's not your fault, right? But it's your problem because the supplier of data, in this case, somebody from the technical team, is your upstream, and you have a business team to serve. They're waiting for your report, right? So you're in the middle. You have upstream, you have downstream. Whatever happens from upstream, you have to catch it. So that's why people say it's not your fault, but it's your problem now. So you just have to follow up with that individual in the technical team. You have to manage that person's schedule to make sure you receive data in time so you can deliver the report to your internal customers on time, right? So the ability to follow up, once again, you can lock on the door every day and then become very annoying. So for instance, so one individual wrote this. He is very persistent, pleasantly persistent. And so that's the word, pleasantly persistent, and follow up and follow through to get things done, to make things happen. I think that is a good quality to have, right? So once again, we need to be really creative and describing ourselves from the resume. And that's the reason why I think a good piece of resume is artwork. And it is truly artwork. Okay, Dipankar, how to prioritize data science project to first mention and showcase our relevant skills for the role. You must have a focus. So when you, let me, this is a good question. Let me just elaborate on that. So over here, I say your positioning strategy, you can do it over roles, industries, skills, and projects. For given roles in a given industry, the core skills and project or use cases should be quite common, to the employer in that industry. Okay, so let me explain what I meant. So these are roles, right? Engineer, analyst, consultant. So business analyst, data analyst. Sometimes the name or the titles don't reflect the work, but essentially, this could be the titles you're targeting one of them, or maybe multiple of them. So what about industry? So I would just put down accounting, banking, e-commerce, education, gaming, government, healthcare, IT, insurance, internet, manufacturing, retail, supply chain, telecom. So you can't be all over the place. Don't tell me you're targeting all of them, right? So you could put, I don't know, you could target insurance, banking, or you could target retail, supply chain, e-commerce, right? Or telecom. A few of them is okay, but not all over the place. You're not trying to be all things to all people, and that simply is impossible. So if you have a fairly good idea, so sometimes you need some advice from the mentor to define your position and strategy. So if you define the industries you want to target, then you can define the skills required for that role to perform that role and the project or use cases that are typical in that industry. This is a long list, but some of this, for instance, I don't know. For instance, lifetime value prediction, sales analytics, right? So that's how you find some of the project more relevant than the other project. And if you don't have enough, or if you don't have relevant project at all, then you need to find one. You need to find three, in my opinion, right? You need to find 3 good projects to put on a resume, and then that resume carries the enough amount of weight, and then people will look at, oh, this is interesting, I want to meet this person. Okay, right? And I'm taking project course from Udemy, and since I have nothing as a new grad, can I use that? I'm not trying to say anything negative about the online courses. I just want to explain 2 kinds of training. Okay, one training is skill-based, and the other one is role-based. Okay, for instance, Microsoft. We use a lot of tools from Microsoft, but how come Microsoft is not the most important provider of that training? I'm pretty sure Microsoft knows the tool really well, but it's not about the tool we're trying to learn. We're trying to learn how to use the tool to solve real world problems, right? So it's the problems that can get people. It's the same problems, same challenges, and same frustration. You want the same kind of emotion you want the hiring manager to feel when they look at your resume, when they talk to you, right? And that's how they click with you, because they feel that you understand the job, you understand the problem, you understand the context, right? So the role-based training is really about showing you what kind of work you will be doing, and maybe what kind of people you will be working with, and what kind of a relationship you will need to manage. So it's not just the tool, the hard skills, and it's the context, it's the use case, it's the business problem you're trying to answer, or you're trying to solve, right? It's the business decisions you're trying to support. So in this case, I think role-based training is a lot more effective. So if you find Udemy is preparing you to perform a role in that particular industry and then take it, and then you can use that. So if that project is very typical of, I don't know, healthcare, and then that's a good project, or maybe insurance, that's a good project. And otherwise, if Udemy is teaching you the basic skills and how to use the tools, and then I don't recommend it. Even Excel, you can spend 6 months and there is still something you don't know. But you don't need to learn everything, every feature about Excel. You only need to learn the 20% essential features that you're going to use every day. The most important features that you will use to solve this problem, right? So role-based training also helps you to decide what to learn, what not to learn, because you can't learn everything. Yeah. So I hope you understand the difference between the two. Yeah. Excellent. So we still have 44 people with me. That's amazing. So let me just show you one more resume, very, very strong resume. Which one I wanted? Okay, this one. So this resume looks busy. You can see leaving very little margin on both sides and up and down, at the top, at the bottom. But it's still readable, right? Once again, you see the pattern. The skills section, you have 6 categories: programming, machine learning, big data, cloud, database system, data visualization. I really, really like this one. Once again, programming, database, big data, cloud, data visualization, machine learning. Yeah. And then if you look at project experience, so this individual actually works on a real-time project. So WeCloudData also provide real-time project, RCP, real-time project. We do business development, with clients in the US and Canada. So some of the projects are high-profile project that you can work on. It's a real project. So if you don't have experience, if you're a new grad, and then I think, and that can really, really help you to put real experience on the resume, and it will help you get interviews. So let's look at the project. So once again, it's 3 plus 3, highly relevant project over here, and 3 more other projects. So in fact, it's fun if you don't look at the top half of the resume, and without looking at the top half of the resume, if you just look at the bottom half, starting from the education. So these are just some part-time courses. Hold on, this is WeCloudData. Where is the education? Oh, here. So this is BBA. So this individual comes from a business background, right? It's business administration, BBA. If you look at the job, he did 2 jobs: senior financial advisor and sales marketing associate. So this is sales, marketing, and this is probably sales and marketing too, right? And I can tell you, he worked, I think, 1 year in the bank. Yeah. So not technical at all. But he actually landed a job as a data scientist. That's all because of the skills and the client and project experience. And these 2 and the upper half of this resume completely changed his profile. If you finish reading the skills, you would agree that he's technical. And then if you look at the project, let's just take a look at the first project. I like the way he worded and a simple description of the project, bolded. He used the word complex. It's a good complex machine learning models for a mobile app startup. It's always a good idea to show the numbers in dollars and percentage change. So 300,000 download. That's not huge, but significant. To predict the key information from a receipt image. So this is like image to text. It's machine learning. It increased existing legacy models accuracy by 45%. And how he, create 4 bullets to support this. The first one, I think this actually follow the process. So the first step is the data prep. Pre-process and clean raw data, and using Python library to be ingested into MySQL. So this is the database he used, and reduce the existing data pre-processing time by 25%. So this implies, performance tuning, just make it run faster. The second one is EDA, so perform in-depth exploratory data analysis using various visualization packages and stats model in order to understand underlying trends and patterns and reduce the variables. And this is feature engineering, just to find just a short list of variables, highly predictable features. And then design tree-based classification model using random forest and XGBoost, extensively, once again, tune parameters on GPU instance. So this is performance tuning. And deployed models collectively increased the app usage by 12% and premium app purchase by 6%. It's not huge improvement, but there is improvement. So the way he wrote this project experience, and it's something you can remember, right? It's relevant, it's specific, and with just 4 bullets, so you can almost see this individual working through the entire process. So he's familiar with data prep, he's familiar with feature engineering, he's familiar with performance tuning. And with that, you could consider this resume a strong resume, and it will get you interviewed. Meng Tian Lu, can this resume secure? Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, so he's a data scientist now. All right, so Jorge, none of the examples show anything related to experiencing AI and large language model, which are the current requirements. Good that you mentioned. Jorge, this is from a few years back. So I agree with you. So nowadays, generative AI, large language model becomes essential. So if I were you, I would include one more bullet over here. So you can put feature, not feature. What is the word? Prompt engineering. You can mention the large language model. It's not you developing a model, but it's you turn this model into an application. So once again, it becomes powerful if you associate Gen AI, LLM with the actual use case. That's something or somebody can relate to. So it could be chatbot, it could be automation tool, anything related to language-based tasks. You can help the company do more with less manpower, with a lot of productivity gain. I think that is the trend. Even the traditional company are trying to catch up because they're struggling. They need to cut down the costs to stay in the game. And the only way to do that is to use smart technology. So AI, if you watch, how it has developed ever since late last year, right? It's amazing, and it's not by year or months, it's every day, and every day you see something new. So this is definitely something you want to leverage in terms of use cases and application of generative AI. Nobody knows more. Nobody is the expert, and we all recognize this trend at the same time. But whoever find the right words to showcase and promote yourself, and then we'll stand out, right? So to tell you the good news, in the WeCloudData, we are gonna launch the AI courses for every track, for DA, for DS, for DE. So it becomes mandatory. We all need to learn prompt engineering, generative AI, large language model, and we will help you, master some of the concept and framework using actual real cases. So it's going to be very, very hands-on. Okay. All right. But I doubt how many people know deep learning can have experience over 2 years. I agree. Deep learning, there is a learning curve. Even for, I'm not saying only data scientists or machine learning engineer will need to learn this. Even data analysts, business intelligence analysts need to learn. You don't need to know what's in the black box. I think a lot of it is you need to know when to use what API or library, and you manage the input and you interpret the output. And if this thing, work for the industry, and then if you can get the productivity gain, for the client, for the customer, and then that's enough, right? You just need to know in what circumstances to use this powerful tool to monetize the opportunity. Don't confuse deep learning with LLM. Yeah. So yes. So you can check it out. So there's big concept, smaller concept, and then you will see what is just a subset of what, right? Okay. Any questions so far? Would you like to see one more resume? Okay, let me show you one more. So this resume, so this resume is for a PhD. So I sense that we have a PhD, maybe a few in the audience. So you see some of the people with research background or previous experience working in academia. So this individual was a PhD in psychology. So once again, one page, and she used 2 columns. I'm actually against this format. Don't use 2 columns. The 2-column resume, if the company are using software like ATS to scan your resume, It's beyond your imagination, how ATS will mess up the resume. A lot of times, the 2 columns, headers, footers, any fancy, modification will mess up the format and the content and the sequence of the writing block. And don't do it. Use the generic form. So over here, you still see the skills in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So programming, machine learning, statistics, visualization, big data. I think today you can walk away knowing what to write under the skills block. You definitely need to put in more stuff over here. But whatever you put in there, you need to back it up, right? So you truly really have the skill. And then this individual has done, this is a project and this is another project. So 2 projects. I just erased the name of it. And then she used to be in the university, I believe, doing some research, and she's also a TA. So this is also related to data. And so 2 data science consultant, I believe these 2 are real-time project, and this is the portfolio project. So the difference is the real-time project is actually creating value for the client, and portfolio project, and it doesn't create value. It's the project we develop and we ask the students to do. Okay, but it's still industry grade project with close to real data. Okay, so I think you have a fairly good idea. Question from Jeet.
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know how we actually have a lot of great information in this resume, like in their experience and the data science projects. But if you're to like remove like the 2 columns format and put it all like in 1 column sort of thing, like without the 2, like how would we manage to still keep this in like 1 page? Because I feel like the column actually helped us put all this information in 1 page. Because this is the same issue that I
Yeah,
have with my resume.
yeah. You see, two columns are harder to manage. You actually have some margins. These are wasted space. If you use just the generic format, and I think you will be able to make better use of the space. So some people think 2 column looks cool and fancy, but don't do it. And it just doesn't help you. And sometimes the technical skills are supposed to be at the top, but it goes to the middle. And then maybe the heading just went to somewhere else. It's just plain bad. Don't do that. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. So
so how
question
would
from,
we
yeah, go ahead.
so how do we fit this in 1 page?
You can definitely put everything under 1 page. So
Like all of this information?
let me get to the question first. I mean, don't you agree? The resumes I showed you, even 1 page still has a lot of information, good information. It's not that, people with 1 page resume are less knowledgeable or less competent. I don't think so. And
Mm-hmm.
you are actually hoping the recruiter or hiring manager to absorb your information. It's important. It's very important to be concise and also clear on what you are trying to communicate. Sometimes quantity doesn't really help if it has low quality. Okay, question from Jade. If we use the same resume for every job description, there is a chance that there will be many keywords missing. So the ATS will reject it because it's not possible to create one resume that will cover all keywords for each and every job description. So how can we handle this issue? Technically, you're right, Sojit, but because you have a positioning strategy, you are not targeting every single job, right, in every single industry. So if you target maybe one or two industry, then the keywords are a lot more manageable. In fact, sometimes you put in the keywords that one specific job doesn't include or fail to say. But don't you think it's great when the hiring manager sees that your resume includes some information they're supposed to include but fail to include? And that means you truly really understand the job. I think somebody from the audience once said, you can't just, copy paste the keywords and put them into your resume and hope this will get you an interview. Because, the hiring manager wrote that job description, he would be able to tell you're simply moving the keywords without understanding the content, right? Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't have to be the exact same keyword, but could be the same meaning. And maybe your choice of words are more accurate than the ones included in one particular job description, correct? So once again, if you review a few job descriptions for similar type of roles in a given industry, I think it is manageable. You will be able to get good enough keywords, and with the high level of confidence, that resume is considered adequate for almost every job in that industry, for that role in that industry. Would you agree? I mean, it's a reality. You cannot include every single keyword for the 100 jobs you found on Indeed. That's almost impossible. And if you do that, that is not necessarily a good resume. It's just a page of nonsense, right? It doesn't make sense at all. Would you agree? When you read books, it's not necessarily the book with all the good words, the greatest book. No, you don't have to include all the vocabulary to be a good book. Okay, so from Victor, well, the foundational concept of deep learning, so you're trying to explain deep learning, great. Jorge, yeah, every time with the same model, give a GPT the new keyword. All right. Miguel, do you have any tips or insight around the role of networking in our job search? Networking is extremely important. So it's like your two necks, okay? So you definitely need to apply online, but at the same time using LinkedIn to reach out to the people already in the industry. But don't ask the person you just met or who just accepted your request to connect. Don't ask them to refer you to a job the first time you talk to them. That is simply too much to ask. But it's always a good idea for you to first to praise them. I see you are a subject matter expert on this topic. You're doing really well in your field. I am currently pursuing, a data scientist role in this industry. Would you be able to, I highly value your opinion. Would you be able to provide some advice. And whenever you ask somebody to give you advice, it's a compliment. You make that person feel important. So 9 cases out of 10, people will not reject you, when you ask them for advice. So after a while, you just remain connected with that person if that person proved to be helpful, and you update him on your progress. So at some point, you can send him or her your resume. So if your resume is ready, if your resume looks strong, and it so happen maybe that person's company or a team he knows of is hiring, why not? And when you need somebody, other people to help you, you gotta make it really easy for them to help you. And sometimes the first time might be too much to ask, but after a while, when you know each other better, they feel safe. I think most people would love to see, whatever they did or whatever they say is affecting somebody positively, right? So, but knowing that is important. When you ask people to refer you to a job, that person simply puts his name on the line, right? So if this doesn't go well, it's gonna reflect bad on that person. So you need to know that. Okay, so use of keywords, but they are not used. All right, text breaks. Don't use cliche, yeah, avoid cliche. Ramona has a question regarding soft skills. How do we demonstrate in a resume extreme attention to detail, for instance? All these are left for the interview. No. In fact, for data rows, there's no escape. So data preparation and your ability to handle data quality issues. So this part, a lot of people overlook. They think it's boring to talk about, how you clean data. In fact, this is the most important skill. And I recall somebody in the audience talk about data governance. Data governance is extremely important for the entire organization. So instead of saying attention to details, which is a cliche, you can talk about, how you create data validation rules to automatically detect and resolve data quality issues. And have you heard people saying incorporating raw data from different sources in different formats is a data nightmare. It is a data nightmare, right? Because there are just so many different issues that could happen. So for instance, you could have, missing value, you could have outliers, you could have formatting errors, you could have anomalies and all kinds of data issues. So if you showcase your ability to handle the data nightmare, I think everybody wants you. Every hiring manager wants you to be on their team, because this is almost the foundational skill for a good data analyst. So once again, be specific. Don't say attention to details. What does it mean, right? Everybody says attention to details. But in this case, so instead of saying you're great at communication, why don't you say, you could say superior business or technical writing or public speaking skills, right? And just say something that's rarely seen. And then people say, oh, this is good. All right. So, oh, it's already 10:05. I'm very sorry. And we still have 40 people with us. I feel happy too. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I hope you feel useful. Once again, let me just leave my email again here. You can contact me and maybe connect with me on LinkedIn, and maybe also update me on your progress. If there's anything I can help you, also let me know. Yeah, so hope everyone have a good year 2023, even better year 2024. But if you're trying to make a jump in your career, get ready in the remaining November, December. So good luck to all of you. Bye for now.